Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Phil Donay and Manu from German metalcore band Mavis to the podcast. Mavis will release their new record, Grief Is No Ally, this Friday, December 15th on Rising Empire Records. This is an absolute album of the year release, so make sure you check the album out and revise your lists. The guys talk about the scene around Stuttgart, the long road and hardships endured to getting this album out, being on a rising empire, and more. If you enjoyed this episode, it would be awesome if you shared it with a friend who you think might also be a fan. Word of mouth is the best way to help grow and support the podcast. If you want to be involved even more, you can join the As the Story Grows Discord community, subscribe to the mailing list on Substack, or support the show financially on Patreon. You can also send me an email. Links will be in the show notes. Enjoy getting to know your new favorite band, Mavis. Maybe, I don't know how you feel. I'll ask this question to start. Like, December is not a popular time to release music normally, which might be a good time because it's a bit of a new music wasteland. Like, how do you feel about releasing this new music this late in the year?
Yeah, we actually planned on releasing it in November first, but due to some issues with creating videos for the singles and some time issues, we had to fix the release date 5 weeks back. Now it's December. Yeah, we know that's not the most efficient way or best date to release new music, but
But to be fair, like you said, the competition now, I think it's not that bad actually now in the end.
Yeah.
It's no major releases kind of competing with us directly, or it feels
that's
bad.
for sure. But we kind of miss all the top albums of the year and stuff like that, or newcomers of the year.
Right.
We will see how that will work out.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because like everybody's putting their list out now, and it's like there's still a month left of the year. I'm lucky because I got to hear the record, so I'm like, yeah, this is a fucking banger. Like, let's go.
Thank you.
Let's just dive in. Where did both of you grow up?
Well, I'm more directly from Stuttgart, Germany.
Okay.
As we are a German band from the south of Germany, where it's rainy and inside the Black Forest, you know.
Yeah.
But for now we live more northern from Stuttgart in a smaller town, and we had I would say musically I was growing up in Stuttgart because with my age, everyone said there is no scene anymore and metalcore is dead. But I'm doing metalcore since about 15 years now, and the scene was never dead. So you just have to do your thing, and I saw that kind of as my thing right here in Stuttgart. Yeah, that's where I grew up.
Nice.
For me, it's still close, a bit kind of like Phil said, further down up north, more small village after small village, but it was obviously, I would say Stuttgart definitely is the next kind of what you can call a city, definitely. Yeah. So I went to university there, so it always was kind of the connection to that. And like Phil said, because when we got to know each other, actually, I was talking about a concert I went to when I was 15, I believe. He wasn't even there, but knew kind of all the bands that played there, including all supports. That's so we always been close, but never met before the band actually.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. What got each of you into music?
Well, for me, it started pretty early. I would say ever since I could talk and walk, I was imagining myself kind of with skinny jeans, and I always wanted tattoos and was fascinated by guys I was looking up to or saw on MTV in the 90s. You know, all those bands like let's see, one of my first the first things I could remember from MTV was System of a Down, Toxicity.
Okay.
And also my dad got me pretty early into rock music, as it was his kind of jam, you know, and we listened to some vinyls and stuff like that, and I always wanted to play guitar, but I'm a shit guitar player, so now I sing.
To be fair, and not actually. Also, I don't know if that you had to do that as well. For me, I would say the very first thing. I'm not sure what age. Probably 4 or 5. Flute lessons, boring stuff like that. So that's
for me, it was at least classical guitar, because I had to learn this before I got an electric guitar, and then my dad bought me one anyway.
Okay, a guitar for me was 10 or 11. I think I started that, but not as kind of into. I think same influence from my dad with rock and heavy music, but pretty much not that. For me, it started at some point with, again, classical guitar. Haven't had lessons there, but for me, I would say it started at some point with something like Blink 182. But at some point, for me, really, Slipknot Duality was kind of that song. I kind of thought, hey, I want to be able to play that, and that's kind of when it started more in that direction.
Yeah, but it always was more the heavy side of music I was drawn to, I would say. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't even into that screaming and stuff like that. That came way later in my musical interest. But for sure, we my brother and we were into all those German smaller punk bands and stuff like that. And he's my older brother, and he went more into the EDM part of music, and I stayed true, as you would say. So
that's funny. I have a younger brother. He's 2 years younger than I am, and he's into like the electronic and making like dance music. And I'm nope.
It's the other way around.
Yeah. Phil, you said like there was a metalcore scene always there. Like, was it just like house shows or small, or like I don't know. Like, was it tough to find a music scene to be a part of?
Not really. If you ask my bandmates and everyone that knows me, I'm always talking, even when I'm on concerts or not even on concerts. Even if I'm meeting friends and stuff and guys from school, I always knew who did what music and who was playing which instrument, and I kind of tried to reach out to everyone who knew anyone in a band or stuff like that. To kind of stay connected, not even with something in mind, but just to connect and learn from everyone. And and then maybe around the age of 14, I started to plan some DIY shows in our where we had our rehearsal room with my older band. I was just sticking around, and with everyone after school leaving to go to a different city and to university and whatnot. I was sticking around making music, and maybe some of the guys from my school would say that's sad, but I don't know. I'm happy.
Yeah, there are certain people who do not understand, like, when you're passionate about music and it's like the thing you care about, like, people don't get it. They're just like, I remember talking to somebody.
It's a way specific thing.
Yeah,
I would say, and also with exceptionally with those DIY shows, I would say, it's also, it can be a burden sometimes, because managing all those different people to get together on one specific date, and even then try to connect with people as much as to fill the room, with someone, even when there's different concerts in the same city and stuff like that. Yeah, and I started in Stuttgart, and just we were some regional musicians, and you met one another and at the same shows and stuff like that. But it kind of grew, and it grew bigger and bigger, and it started to become a network, I would say. Mm-hmm. And his own scene, something like that, maybe around what I was connecting between different bands and stuff.
Yeah. Manu, what about you? What was your experience like in secondary school, like starting bands and going to shows?
Yeah.
So actually, I can probably kind of give you some kind of an outside view, because I would say at the age of 19, 20, I pretty much stopped playing in bands entirely.
Okay.
And it's kind of coming back felt like nothing has changed at all, which was on one hand kind of great, but also, like you said, you said sad, but I'm not sure. But you could feel the connection right away again.
Yeah.
And to your point, if it's just small shows or bigger shows, for me it was really coming back into that scene again. Obviously, all the small shows, you pretty much in the city know almost everybody. Not an extreme for me, for you it's definitely different. But also at bigger shows, you run into the same people over and over again. And it's not just limited to that city. It's literally cities nearby. Obviously, it's more people that you know, but also the bigger festivals. It's still, you have a drink somewhere, you meet people. Hey, you're kind of living next to me pretty much. So what are you doing here? So that is, it's very easy to kind of have that connection with people, because you meet each other so much randomly at shows mostly.
Let's talk about the band. How did Mavis get started?
Kind of, actually, it was a great way to this question, because it started just like that. We knew each other from all kind of bands. The one who started the band, he's called Robin Dachtler. He's not longer around as our bandmate, but he's doing solo stuff right now, which is also exceptionally good. We have to say we're on good terms, But he was creating music even in bands when I haven't started my own band yet. So I was kind of, he's a bit older, so I was kind of. Let me just think, 11, 12, and started to get interested into more local bands. And he was having his own band, and they were really heavy, but kind of ridiculous in a humorous way, I would say. So a bit over the top. And I was a fan. I was a fan of his music, and when my band was maybe around 8 years into the scene, we started talking about doing some demos together, because he tried to do some old ideas and creating a new modern sound to it. And immediately I said, yeah, let's do that. I don't know if I have the time to do another project. And let's just see what it will become. And eventually, within around 2 years, it became Mavis, and we started reaching out to different musicians from other bands where we knew, okay, those guys might not play metalcore, they might play death metal or even some different niche metal genres, but we started to jam, and everyone was like, yeah, let's do something with the modern metalcore heaviness and also the catchiness of pop. And yeah, we talked about it and thought, yeah, let's see where it takes us. Yeah, and then after we just did 3 songs and started to release our music with videos and stuff. Yeah, we already had some tour dates and whatnot, but the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
As everyone was affected by it, but we were just at the start of our band and began to gain popularity in a small scale within Germany.
So just to give you some perspective, this is obviously way before I joined, but Phil, when you started talking about that was 2017, I believe, 18 when you started?
Around 2017, 18, yeah. And we started releasing in November 2019. The first song of the album was our first single, actually, in November 2019. Yeah, and we did those 3 songs, and over the course of the 3 years of pandemic, we had way too much negative issues. I don't know if you know something about the information we got on the internet, but members left, someone got cancer, and gladly he made it through. So he's fine now. Thank God. Yeah. But then some 2 other guys left because of mental health issues, and they started to get into other interests than music, and that's fine. That's okay. Yeah. But it was hard to stick around in that time, especially even with knowing what we can do and having our planned album already scheduled in the recording studio in 2020, and had to wait 3 more years to even record it and put it out. Yeah, and then obviously shortly before Manu joined our band, our rehearsal room and studio just burned down, and that was a bummer.
Yeah, I saw that. Like,
yeah.
Were you sitting there like, this is a sign, we shouldn't do this band anymore?
We thought about that.
Yeah.
But then we also thought, yeah, it may be a sign, but in which direction? So
when all your shit gets burnt up, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just even more metal then.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were at that time, shortly before Manu joined, we were even just 2 guys remaining. Our bass player, Mo, and me. Yeah, and within 2 weeks that our drummer left, he was the 3rd remaining member in that period. Our drummer left, and he made contact between Manu and me.
Nice.
So I played with him when I was 16 in that band, so that's kind of, he brought me back from say retirement. But
wow.
Yeah, and we met in summer of 2022, and he already could play our whole live set.
Nice.
And we started to think about, maybe talks about the album can become reality again. Yeah. And maybe Manu can say what the meeting was between him and I when I asked him to join the band.
So, as said, the one person I knew was the drummer. So I'm not sure how we ended up talking even about that. actually literally can't remember, but he asked me, "Hey, we lost both of our guitar players. Do you have any interest in joining and playing and whatever?"
A band without any equipment at all. We just had us and the music.
Yeah. But we met, kind of got along pretty well. But really, it was like Phil said, we had 1 or 2 rehearsals max, probably. And at the time, we played one show with the old drummer. Yeah, right, pretty quick. But pretty much the day when he or the guys wanted to tell me, "Hey, please join us," he had like, "Okay, I have good news and I have bad news."
Oh man!
It really was, "Okay, I have good news. Do you want to join? Bad news. We no longer have a drummer." So that was an interesting day, but don't regret it since then. And yeah, like you said, it's a bit of a commitment.
Yeah.
We also with every audition we then later had for drummers, especially, or pretty much only, it was that, hey, are you actually committed here? It's not just don't want to just play some music a bit. It's more than that. And the last year showed definitely that it's way more than just playing music. Actually,
both of our new members, so Manu and our drummer, who joined in later in 2022. Both of them had the moments where they were in the band already, but had some thoughts like, "Oh man, this is serious." They didn't talk shit. It wasn't shit what they said at the auditions. Yeah. That was great to see the looks on their face when we saw
when we actually had that moment where, hey, we actually gonna record that album now. That was also you guys, even you're waiting for that for years. You also were kind of frightened or whatever, excited, but
maybe a bit nervous.
Yeah, that's better. Nervous is better.
I'm still a bit nervous to finally release the album, but yeah.
It's been such a long labor of love and years and all the hard work put into it, and it's like, finally to survive a pandemic and a fire and members maybe to be like, okay, here we have a record now.
Finally it pays off.
Yeah. How'd you guys get connected with the Rising Empire?
That was also pretty interesting because I don't know if they had something like that with another band on their roster because talks began already before we even released the first singer because we knew each other personally. Mm-hmm. So the guys from Rising Empire and I knew their band as well because I connected with former members and the other guitarist of some of their bands and projects played in bands with me and stuff like that and projects. And we knew each other, and so they knew me and especially Rob, who began Mavis. We were creating music together, and they really liked what he was doing instrumentally. And also they really liked my vocals with my former band. So it kind of sold them what we can do. So we did the 3 songs in 2020 and 2019 to maybe test a bit what we can do and what we can reach. And in 2020, talks we're beginning to plan to release an album, even then together with a Rising Empire. So we talked about deals and stuff. Yeah, and in those 3 years after, every time we saw each other at concerts or festivals, it was like, guys, huh? Where's the album? And luckily they also trusted in what I had to say, that we work on it and that it will be great. And we hope everyone else can see that too now.
Well, the album is called Grief Is No Ally. Talk to me about the concept of the record, lyrical concept.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting because Grief Is No Ally was just a thought I had maybe a year before we started to put the songs together that were existing. And it was just a working title, and I always thought, yeah, let's have it like that, and we will see when we release it. So because the songs on the album are actually pretty much half from our former guitar player and from me, and some of it even from Manu. But they were created over a time span of more than 5 years. So it's interesting how that working title kind of became a loose concept of what the lyrics contain. So for me, as I'm writing all the lyrics, or most of it, for me, the working title perfectly summarizes what each story has to do with grieving, because it may sound really negative or pessimistic, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so it is for me with every song on the record. I mean, some of them are really personal stories, other are more in a theatrical way and metaphoric, and especially Monsters maybe is a bit more globally, and that's how the concept of grieving became the red line of the songs in that time span. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't always Grief Is No Ally, but at the end, it was the best title fitting the record.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys allow yourselves? I mean, it seems like you did allow yourselves to kind of experiment and not limit like what the sound and scope of this record is. I mean, for the most part, this album is like a straight banger, but then like Limerence comes in and it's like this crazy pop song. I was just like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, we actually Limerence became a thing. It's an old idea where it came from me, and it was just a scratch idea, maybe even just a tapping or something like that, and that's now a really small part in the song. But around a month before maybe 2 months before we had to go into the studio and record the whole full-length album, Manu and I just sat down and were just like, yeah, we have 11 songs and we're planning on doing 11 songs, but yeah, maybe let's just try to do this one different thing and see how it goes and kind of challenge ourselves a bit, because I sang in stuff before, and in the last years, but for the last years I've seen myself more of a shouter or a screamer. Mm-hmm. So it's way outside of my comfort zone to do so much clean singing. But it was a challenge. I saw it as a challenge, and it was interesting even to record it with Manuel Renner, our studio producer, and he pushed me especially really to the limit of what I thought I can do, and I think it shows. Yeah, and even the feature with venue singer Lela.
Yeah.
We weren't sure if it's working to get the timing right to have her record her vocals. So there is a version with only me singing. But her vocals are definitely a step up, and we are really really happy that we put Limerent onto the album instead of another, not generic metalcore banger. I wouldn't say it's like that, but not another metalcore song. So we could maybe show even more sides of what Mavis can be.
Yeah, maybe adding to that, I think, Brian, you initially said it. We don't want to, even from the debut album, first songs, don't want to limit ourselves that much. Of course, you would say if you see the album as a whole, it's a metalcore album. We can't deny that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of going in certain directions already. And like Phil said, we had 11 songs pretty much ready. But then there will be this song that is now not on the album. We will do something later with that. But we definitely said, okay. And also for me coming in, and we talked about this a bit. So what's a Mavis song, basically? Because we have these, I would even say, 3 periods of you founding the band, writing the first songs, then people leaving, you had new members for a short period of time, you mostly, Phil, wrote a couple of songs. It's kind of a different style, trying to sound like Mavis, whatever that meant at that time.
Yeah.
And then again,
I really had to learn how to maybe, I'm not writing like Robin did, but maybe learning a bit more how to play like him, or how to think of the guitar like him. That was a challenge for me, even in that time where we only were 2 members.
Yeah,
but it just needed to create some music and try to keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, finishing that, the third phase really is kind of now the 4 people that we are, that influence doing something again that is, so the other track we wrote that kind of later in that period is Hollow Eyes, which is a straight up metalcore song, I would say. Even one of the heaviest on the album, I would even say, if not the heaviest. So also we did also that. So it's it's really a
we had a kind of anything goes attitude towards recording the album, because even with pre-production being ready for the studio and the songs kind of in our minds were already finished, you wouldn't believe how much some of the songs changed inside the studio, because we always knew when we were inside the studio, nothing is untouchable. So every part where we thought, and even with our producer, where we thought we can make it better. It may be going back to the original idea if we cannot make it better. But we always thought, what if we try this or that? And then we tried it, and it worked really well. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like there's a lot more newer bands just like being more experimental in songwriting and like what is metal, and just like letting anything go. It's like, are you going to write a better song that sounds like August Burns Red than August Burns Red? Like probably not. Like you're not going to like out right Kill Switch Engage. So like do something that like makes you fucking happy, right? Like
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially, and that's even going back to Limerent, that's where some of the ideas of incorporating drum rhythms from really different music genres was coming from. So like the drum beat over Limerent, this you can maybe say it's more prominent in reggaeton in Germany. Yeah. And you don't always hear something like that in metalcore.
Yeah,
there are some examples, but it's not.
By the way, our drummer hated it in the beginning.
Yeah, now it's his favorite groove on the album. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Because he's more from the death metal side, and
he was, guys, are you serious? I'm kidding. It was.
Yeah. Now he loves it. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Who did the album artwork?
It actually was a designer from, so the front cover artwork, it was a designer from California. I think he's called Delta Options. And I just came across his art on, and that's still a thing, Facebook.
Nice.
one day I scrolled through Facebook because I was bored, and came across his artwork, and I just messaged him and thought like, yeah, this may be something. And the guys liked it too when I showed it to them. So it became the front cover, and a friend of ours from a different band here around Stuttgart called Feel the Silence. He did the rest of the artwork. So together with us, he created a design around it.
Nice. The album's out December 15th. You guys gearing up for big plans beginning of next year?
Yeah, we're kind of. We're
hopeful.
No, we don't have a management or booking or stuff like that. We do everything except the work our label does. We do everything ourselves. So the plans are rolling just right in. So we cannot talk about that much. Hopefully, we're gonna tour next year, especially in Germany. That's for sure. But hopefully also some countries around that. And some festivals are planned. And that will be awesome. Yeah, awesome. We are just beginning to hit the stages right now on the weekends. So. Yeah, it's really awesome to play the songs of Grief Is No Ally finally alive again, and also the new versions of the songs, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How is like the touring circuit over there in like Germany and Europe? Because like I know even still since like COVID, like if you're a smaller band, it's super hard to tour because like all the big bands are still taking up all the bandwidth. Like, is it the same way over there, or is it like more?
Yeah, for sure. And what also is a really big issue is that I would have to say it like that. Many of the smaller venues where newcomers like us would have a place, even to do either DIY shows or DIY touring in Germany and the countries around Germany, they didn't survive the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and financially couldn't bear anymore to even do a clubbing or smaller concerts. So yeah, it's hard to reach out to venues and even get a date to where you could plan something. Also, right after the pandemic, no one was really sure if it's over yet or what is going on. So the concerts that were going on were not that didn't have that big of a crowd.
Yeah,
you'd have to say. Yeah, that was hard, but it kind of normalizes. It does it slowly, but it gets normal again, I would say. We just can't wait to have it released. Yeah, December 15, and Grief Is No Ally is finally out. The first Mavis album. It's still like a dream becoming reality for me, especially. I would say, and having finally, I cannot wait to finally have the vinyl in my hands. Yeah, and hopefully everyone likes it just as much or even more as I do, and. Hopefully everyone can feel and think his own things about that.
The one thing I'd like to add so far, as Phil said earlier, hitting the stage again or releasing stuff. So far, the feedback could be YouTube comments, DM messages, comments where underneath posts are so phenomenal, and really looking forward to more. And really the best thing that people can do is share whatever a song, the whole album, and
yes, and tell us what you think about it. Yeah,
we appreciate every feedback a lot, and so far it's been just amazing.
Yeah, and even internationally, we couldn't have dreamed about having an online talk with someone from overseas. Yeah, that's really amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.